Investment fraud, Ponzi schemes, securities fraud, and related financial crimes causes massive financial harm to victims and requires sophisticated investigation to document, prosecute, and recover losses. At People Locator Skip Tracing, we assist victims, receivers, and attorneys in the investigative work that supports recovery. Here's the professional framework for investment fraud investigation. Understanding the fraud structure. A Ponzi scheme uses money from new investors to pay returns to earlier investors, while the operator diverts a substantial portion to personal use. The scheme collapses when new investor money can't keep up with promised returns or redemption requests. At collapse, the assets of the enterprise are typically a fraction of investor claims. The post-collapse investigation priorities. First, identify and preserve whatever assets remain. Second, trace investor funds to understand where the money went. Third, identify fraudulent transfers that moved assets to insiders or related parties before the collapse. Asset tracing methodology. Professional investigation of the operator's personal assets, real estate, vehicles, business interests, bank accounts, lifestyle expenditures, reveals the extent of personal enrichment. Bank record analysis traces investor funds from receipt through transfer. If funds were moved offshore, international investigation is required. Clawback from early investors. In securities fraud recoveries, investors who received returns in excess of their principal investment, net winners, are frequently subject to clawback claims. Identifying net winners requires access to investor records and account transaction histories. SEC and regulatory investigations. The SEC, FINRA, and state securities regulators have broad investigative powers, including subpoena authority for financial records. Parallel regulatory investigations often produce detailed financial records that private litigants can access through the civil discovery process. Receiver's investigation. In cases where a federal or state court appoints a receiver to administer the collapsed enterprise, the receiver has legal authority to investigate, pursue fraudulent transfers, and recover assets. Private investigators work under the receiver's direction in these cases. People Locator. Skip tracing supports Ponzi scheme and investment fraud investigations with asset tracing, perpetrator location, and related party investigation. Visit peoplelocatorskiptracing.com to discuss your investigation.